All right. So academics went in last night. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So we're gonna have to review it. He talked about crypto crashing. I've been said it was a way to move money, trick the public, whatever, right? But then he starts talking about money, how it's not real. And I've been saying this. Things are only important because enough people think it is. It's about perception and illusion. Then he gets into Jay-Z being in the Epstein files. He pulls up receipts. So, hey, I'm gonna show you what I can before I gotta leave. And when I come back, I'll finish recording. Here we go.
First and foremost, as the title of this stream really says, and what we've been doing recently as I go on these monologues is really try to sum up and really present everything we're even going to get into, not just on this is the newest gossip or beef for the day, but as a overall look into what's going on in the industry and the culture that we love. Also what's going into your regular lives, and sometimes everything converges. That's really the main thing of what we're doing, right? Obviously we're always into the bullshit, but I want to give you guys a little bit of nourishment, because if I only give you the fuckery, right, which I'm pretty good at giving you the fuckery, I don't think I'll be living up to my name of academics if we weren't a little bit balanced, right? We could have the chicken fingers, but at least have a little bit of celery on the side. So anyway, I kind of wanted to start with, as everybody has been seeing it. Do we have any people who invest in crypto in here? I would like to see if you invest in crypto. It doesn't matter.
I don't know what's going on.
If it's a meme coin or even, a stable coin, just one in the chat. Right, just one in the chat, right? And I could imagine you guys at this moment are probably going through it. Bitcoin, if you guys don't know, the price of Bitcoin is currently 69,000. It fell from a peak of 126,000, and the price of Ethereum, those are the two most popular stable coins.
Second one.
At a point, like within the last about 7 or 8 months, it was up to damn near 4,000, and now it's halved. It's at 2,000. People have kind of became really skeptical and really worried about what they're now saying is a crypto crash, with some even expecting that maybe that the cryptocurrency price of Ethereum, but not only that, but more importantly, Bitcoin, might go down to sub 50,000 level. Okay? Now, the reason why I'm even starting here, this is not a financial lesson, and this is not this is not like a money course, right? But, everything always matters in the world, and as we get on to talk about topics that might involve businesses, it's important that you guys understand everything from top down. We've been also continuing with, I feel like it's education a bit, where I'm giving you guys a little bit of what's going on in the world and how it affects us, but even how it affects culture and otherwise, right? So this is why I'm starting here. Now, as the title suggests, nothing, I say nothing is real, but the idea of money and currency and wealth
is a perception.
Thought about in some realms is that none of this shit's real.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna help explain it to y'all. Like, why is Bitcoin worth whatever it's worth? Why is, Ethereum worth whatever it's worth?
I've been saying this.
In the general stock market, it's a little bit easier to understand.
I've been talking about this, y'all.
If you're investing in, I don't know, say Spotify, and Spotify tells you, like as every public company does via NASDAQ, the Wall Street, market, they're going to say, hey, listen, we made this amount of money. We're anticipating to make this money next year. They're going to show you growth. They're going to show you profit. They're going to show you losses. And you could kind of even look at it to be like, this is a profitable company. And if they want money to scale up, I believe in them scaling up. And when they scale up successfully and they get profit, usually for most companies, they do what's called a dividend, right? I'm not here to give a math course or economics course, but I am here to just explain very simple things. And that's why I'm not going to play 15 videos on things to teach you everything. I'm hoping you just kind of get it. That's why it's a monologue.
All right.
So the price of Bitcoin is kind of an arbitrary number that's kind of like picked by mostly, as the old saying goes, kind of supply and demand in a sense. But the demand is really what matters. Why does the demand go up or go down? Like, shit, if everyone wants to buy Bitcoin, there's a certain finite amount of Bitcoin. If the demand is a lot, the price usually reflects that because usually people are buying what people are offloading, and you could offload for a higher price. But if you kind of boil it down, it's basically what we say value is, right? Like a piece of paper money. I don't have any on me. Why is that worth $100? It's basically like this tacit agreement between me and you saying that this piece of paper that's made by the U.S. government is going to be worth $100.
This, right?
Now the reason why I'm saying nothing is real is because we constantly see fluctuation of what's worth something, and then instantly or it goes down to zero, or we just see like.
All right, I gotta go. All right, we back for a minute. I will be having to stop again. I got my side hustle. I deliver for Spark. Yeah, I have a main job. I won't really tell you that right now, but I got a side hustle also until YouTube pays. I'm not getting paid off YouTube right now. So back to the crypto crash with academics breaking it down.
We see fluctuation of what's worth something, and then instantly or it goes down to zero, or we just see like it's not worth anything else, right? Why is a car worth, I don't know, 100,000 when it's on the lot? You drive it off, you spend 2 weeks with it. If you try to sell the same thing back,
go down.
Now it's 70,000.
Yep.
All these things become almost like this idea of all about perception.
Yep.
And once
perception and illusion,
perception, there is a thinking, not common, because this is still real money, like, right, or real perceived money,
right.
But if you have that thinking that nothing is real, you kind of start to realize. And by the way, I'm not going cuckoo. For some people who might be like, "Yo, what is Zach talking about?" Just follow my train of thought. You might be like, "All right, if nothing is kind of like has actual value that can't change." I'm not saying nothing. I'm mentioning cryptocurrency right now because I'm going to transition to something else. And really, so crypto crash, and recently we've been talking about a few topics. Now, I know some of you guys that might be interested in crypto. Maybe you're really into it, or you're not. There's some people that they're into the predictions of it. They look at the charts and they try to okay, all right, here's a dip, it's about to go up. They do all that, right. And some people just read what other people think and they go off the experts. Who cares what you do?
Right.
The point is, Bitcoin fell 50%.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's important, and I always tell you, we always got to follow the money. There's a lot of things that kind of really resulted in that. If you ask people, they can say a bunch of things. They said, well, it's a couple things with the government. I think the running theory now is that there's some Hong Kong hedge funds that over leveraged the Bitcoin going up, and they use the Chinese yen, which is like their currency, which is a cheaper conversion than the US dollar, to kind of back those.
There's some files. I don't know.
They offset it again.
I don't know if he's gonna mention this. I watched some of it and I found it interesting when he got to the Jay-Z part, but there are documents where, and I am gonna cover this. Benny, he's a white guy. He covers a lot of different topics. He is a Trump supporter, but they got the files where there are text messages. It's text messages where Epstein was talking to somebody about which country is going to be the leader of Bitcoin and the digital currency, and they can make some for Islam and they can make some for this country, and they were just planning it. And this was years ago, probably before it even came out. But we will be discussing those topics also.
It's a BlackRock bet, because
BlackRock.
I don't want to get too much to the stock market, but you could get to
BlackRock on a lot of different things,
you could predict if a stock is going to go up, and a stock or a crypto is going to go up or go down. Don't want to get too much into it. I just think about overall what I'm saying.
Right.
There's a bunch of theories,
Yeah, it is.
but not only that.
Hold on.
In terms of these ETFs held by these hedge funds in Hong Kong that have now, did some bad calls or some bad deals and over leveraged their position. Also, there's this like shift to AI, right? Like a lot of people who were betting big on Bitcoin, they're now taking their money and they're also betting big, or they're leveraging it on AI. Also, the data miners that used to be powering Bitcoin, it's down 40%. They're now powering AI, right?
Yep.
AI is like this new thing.
Yep.
AI. You're going to hear it a lot. You're going to hear it a lot.
Oh,
and I'm
will.
trying to make sure you guys are very familiar at a top level with it. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds with it. But all of this stuff kind of matters. Now, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not the biggest crypto expert. And also, I don't think no one has the real answer for why crypto's down, right? Fully, right? It's not one thing. It's like a bunch of things.
Yeah, it's collective of things.
All of those things is the reason why it's down. But it kind of goes to the pivot of what I was saying with like AI. Now, this is kind of the crux of my idea, or not my idea, but me saying
They moving that money. Moving it out of crypto. Yeah. Whatever.
I want to give you a quick course. And
basically what, and I ain't even watch it out. What it is, whatever the public deems is important, the value is there. The value is there. If, like, when it was the PlayStation 5, they couldn't even make enough. When it's a certain iPhone, they can't make enough. When so many people deem it to be so important, Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, Chris Brown, Beyonce, Nicki, whatever all the population run to, the toilet paper, type thing, the value just shoot up. The value shoot up. But you won't really understand that unless you get money. I'm sorry. Like if you really never touched large sums of money, and then you were able to convert it, or you convert it from stock into money or real estate, or if you've ever been able to really touch it, you understand it's just a tool. Like you just use it. You don't depend on it. Yes, you need it, but you don't die for it. And there are some that'll sell everything for it, but you shouldn't.
This is me, a little bit of a nerd, a little bit of a math major, but I'm trying to make it understandable and palatable to some of you guys that have probably no idea about finances or economics. Remember I said, why is a Bitcoin worth $120,000? Or why is it worth $69,000? Or why is it not worth $1? It's a lot of like perception.
Right.
It's a lot of, perception, hope, faith that people could value and also leverage, and then it creates like a market value. Why am I bringing that up? Because now with AI, and I want to give you the story of AI, and I gave it before a little bit, but there's a funny story with AI. I'm an avid investor. A couple months ago, actually about a year ago, just like any avid investor, I'm just starting to get some houses and stuff like that because I was just too heavy like in crypto and just like stock market. So I got a couple houses and like I got some tenants and shit because real estate's supposed to be the thing to get you wealth.
Yes.
So, but I've always been like a heavy investor. So now, about like a year ago, I get hit up, and a lot of people get hit up, and people get kind of that bug where people are saying, "Yo, everybody, if you really want to, make a lot of money, you need to invest in NVIDIA." And I don't know if you guys are into investing, but if you guys are, you will realize that NVIDIA about like a year ago, it just went through the roof.
Yep.
Okay, just went through the roof. Now, I'm going to give the story really quick. I could get more in depth, but I do not want to just like, drown people out because it's a simple story and I'm trying to crystallize my not necessarily theory, but just the point I'm making that really nothing is real.
Right.
So going from a Bitcoin, right?
Like I just said a few minutes ago, whatever the public deems to be important, whatever the 1%, or if someone is able to convince the world or a large amount of the world that something is important, the value shoots up. That's basically what he's trying to explain to you. And he's going to prove it by showing you everything they kept moving the ball, which they're kind of all connected, but they're making everything so important. The value keeps moving.
What's the difference with it being worth 120,000, 60,000, or $6, right? Like, you can't see a Bitcoin. It's just numbers on the screen. Like, what is it? Now, obviously, people are going to be like, well, it has utility. This, that. Oh, okay, cool. You could argue it a million miles away, but it's not a tangible thing.
Right.
Right? Now, let's get to AI. It's funny how wealth moves. And if you ask me...
I just said that.
I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. I believe a lot of wealth has been taken out of the crypto market by a lot of rich people, and they're now leveraging it on AI. That would account for some of the losses we're seeing. Some, not all, in crypto. Why are they leveraging it on AI? Because they see AI as the new multi-trillion-dollar industry. I want to give you this quick story, and hopefully you guys can keep up. I think you will. So NVIDIA, if you guys play video games, I play video games. You know, I'm an avid Fortniter. NVIDIA is a company that makes GPUs. GPUs is a graphic processing unit. It's the thing that your motherboard would use to process the super duper graphics you need to play Call of Duty, this and third.
Right.
And it's going to show you beautiful graphics that you could play your video game on, right? It's a company that has been lasting for the test of time. And the reason why it's been important now is because what they were doing, they are the basic, they create these chips. There are these microchips that are able to process information at lightning speed.
It was in the video games.
Because of that, they were able to take over. You know, they used to compete with Intel. They took over the graphics, industry, and they worked with all the computing companies, especially for gamers and this and third.
Right.
So if you play games, I'm pretty sure you have a NVIDIA graphics card.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Started video games.
Yep.
Well, what happened is about a couple years ago, when there was about to be a shift to AI, is that here's the thing with AI. AI is a thing that
it's so new.
The growth of AI, right?
Yes.
Like, have y'all been on Twitter? Have y'all seen like a chick post something? There's 80 mentions under it. They're like, yo, Grok, take her shirt off, put her in a bikini. Yo, Grok, have her legs wide open. Yo, Grok, have her bend over. Like, and that's AI. That's AI having to do that lightning speed.
He ain't lying.
If you just think about that.
He's not lying.
What happened is that you need these huge data centers, and you also need like really rapid response time.
Yes.
To make that happen. So what started out as a company that would make graphics cards realized they had other utilities because they had a proprietary way to work with chips that would work faster than any computer.
Right.
Okay?
They was ahead of the game.
So once the world became cognizant that AI was going to take over, they said, who got the fastest processing unit? and the fastest chip that could make it happen. Here comes NVIDIA. So NVIDIA kind of gets out of the gamer space, and now they're like the core
jumped into
chipset makers,
AI,
and GPU makers, or not, well, processing units makers for AI. So that's where NVIDIA lands, right? And if you guys are into the stock market, you would have seen NVIDIA was like, I'll look up the time. NVIDIA soars, like their stock soared, like, you know,
it was a couple years ago.
It'll be like a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's not a long time ago. It was like a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
You're only going to see new shit about it. But I'm just trying to give you, a little rundown. I want to look up everything. So NVIDIA starts to basically do these deals and start working with people who need lightning speed computing. Okay?
All right, we back. We back. I'll get another one.
So if you need lightning speed computing, that's what you do. They later get fined because, like, they were getting contracts for non-gaming stuff, and they reported it as gaming stuff. And people were like, yo, you're making that much off games? Come to find out, they lied, right? So I think they paid out like $5 million. NVIDIA pays out $5 million. They report, they reported, it was a civil, they disclosed. So the first thing people came to NVIDIA with, and you're going to see everything makes sense, it was crypto mining. So in crypto, you need to mine the coins.
Yes.
That's a computing heavy process demanding thing that NVIDIA got contracts to do because everybody's working with crypto. They're trying to mine them. They're trying to send them, blah, blah. NVIDIA became the place that was, or the company that needed to help process this lightning quick, like, environment that was cryptocurrency and crypto mining. So they got a bunch of contracts after the video games, right? Or after the computer stuff that people were buying NVIDIA for video games. And they've got a bunch of stuff for people wanting the fastest computers to mine. Because remember, there's supposed to be a finite number of Bitcoins. There's a finite number. So you want the fastest computer, the fastest shit to process it. They got a bunch of contracts. When they reported the revenue, they did not say this came from, look, they didn't disclose the impact of crypto mining. They act like they were selling, graphics cards for gamers, right? They said it was gaming business, right? So they lied. Right? They lied. So they failed to disclose that their growth was not because of the gaming market, but it was the crypto market.
Crypto, not the game.
Okay? Hope you're following. So NVIDIA, they started with gaming,
but they blew up on crypto.
Comes in and said, we need like some super duper computers. We got it. They do the deals. They eventually get sued, but they're still doing the crypto stuff. And then here comes AI, which requires even more need for super duper high speed computing.
Right.
Okay? Now, keep in mind, my whole premise is nothing is real. And you're going to understand why.
Nothing is real.
So NVIDIA gets a bunch of contracts. Their stock shoots through the roof. And then this is where AI is kind of born. Not born, but like it's the infrastructure and industry that everybody's now operating off starts to happen.
Right.
Essentially, companies wanting to develop AI go to NVIDIA and say, can you get us, we'll do deals with you to get all of these chips to have this amount of computing power that we need for AI. Now, some of these things are going to be familiar to you, some may not. One of the ones that do is something called OpenAI. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but colloquially, and they own this product. OpenAI owns a product called ChatGPT.
Right.
So ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI. That was the first big entrance into AI.
Right.
And they do a deal, right? They do a deal with NVIDIA.
Oracle.
Okay? Now, I want to, again, the premise you should be thinking about is how even money and whatever we're thinking
has a
is not
value.
real. It's all about
The value.
interpretation.
Right.
Here comes in a company we've talked about a couple of times, Oracle. Now, the story of Oracle. So pause that first story. So NVIDIA, OpenAI, which is Chat GPT. So NVIDIA leaves. They don't leave gaming because they still do it, but they then go to crypto. After crypto, they're at AI, right? Because they're making the chips, whatever. High speed stuff is needed. Crypto needs it. AI needs it.
Right.
Let's pause that for a second. That's the chips that's gonna do the things required for AI.
Right.
However, you need the infrastructure that AI is going to live under. And let me give you another real quick. Explanation. So pause that story right there, right? And I think you guys are smart enough.
Finna jump to Oracle now.
NVIDIA and ChatGPT or OpenAI.
Right.
But now they need something else, which is where it's going to live. Here comes Oracle that we've talked about. And Oracle, remember, we talked about it with the TikTok thing. Oracle is where TikTok's data is at and the algorithm, right?
Yes.
But before then, Oracle, give me a second. Oracle, I want to break down this company for you. Okay. Oracle is a company. I can't remember when it was started. Let me see. Well, I'll just Google it. It doesn't really matter when it was founded. It was founded in 77. Okay, by Larry Ellison. I'm going to give you the real quick story about it. You guys can go look up these videos if you really care that much. It's not about one particular story. It's about the overall picture.
Yes. How they all
Oracle founded in 77. It was initially established as, SDL. If you guys work in, or if you're older, you probably know that it was pretty much the first database. And a database is
before all this
where, it could be, it's a database that could be hosted, like, say, locally, and it was set up in a way that multiple people could access it. It could tell what level of access, and it could interact with each other to properly deal with a company that had many employees that needed to do many things. Okay, I'm making it really simple here, right? Now, this is pre-cloud. Now, Oracle, right, was a enterprise solution. Means it wasn't for like you and me. Like it's for a company, right? So companies used to use Oracle. By the way, as we're mentioning that, I got to mention the arms race, because as the cloud becomes popular, databases and the old school database becomes, they become kind of antiquated. So Oracle starts out, and then they start competing, or not start competing. They get blown out of the water by Amazon.
Right.
Now, what you guys might not know is that, again, Amazon does make a lot of money from Amazon.com. We're on Amazon.com. But the majority of what Amazon does is that they reinvest a lot of their profits, and they don't take, they actually reinvest. They slim down their margins, so they're not taking that much of a profit.
Nope.
Their goal with their store or their online shop is always about getting every customer to buy from them, even at the expense of their own profit. There were some points during their history when they were offering about, Prime and this and third, they would take losses on things, but it didn't matter as long as they could get you to every shop. Customer to not go to Walmart, to not go to Costco, to not go to Target, but to go to Amazon.com.
Yep.
So this part of their business, it's been one that is very historic, but it hasn't been the most profitable in net profit. Why? They reinvest all the money and they take losses just to get customers, right? What people don't know about Amazon, one of their biggest money makers.
Tell us, Act.
Is not the Kindle. What else they own? They own Whole Foods. That's cool too. One of their biggest money makers is something called AWS, right?
AWS.
AWS is Amazon Web Services. You may not know what this is because you probably don't have to interact with it. It's also kind of an enterprise solution, meaning it's for companies, it's not for you and me. Now, I'm going to tell you why this became lucrative. So remember I told you most companies used to use Oracle? Well, when AWS came on, they were like kind of like, you know, like Google to or Gmail to Yahoo, right? A lot of people were on Yahoo or AOL when Gmail came out. Everybody got a Gmail, right?
Right.
And essentially what they did was they offered cloud solutions to companies and websites, right? So, you know, without boring you with, and I feel like I might be boring you guys already, but just keep following. To make it short, you know the reason why, you know, so Amazon, like for example, Twitch is ran on AWS. So there's a cloud, and AWS is Amazon Web Services. So Twitch relies on AWS. Okay? For them to have a place to store VODs, a way to process their streams, the bandwidth, everything. AWS, which is owned by Amazon, but they also own Twitch, that's what it's hosted on. Now, get the kicker.
Get the kicker.
All pun intended. I also stream on Kick. Kick is also in the same thing. Kick is also on Amazon Web Services.
That's where they getting it.
YouTube is not. YouTube uses their own different thing.
Yeah.
But the majority of companies use AWS.
Bet you didn't know
Twitch,
that.
Like that's all. It's always funny when people like, no matter if you're on Kick or Twitch, you're on Amazon's web services, right?
Wow.
Like if you're on, I don't know, most like, you know, companies or most websites you like, they're on AWS. Maybe even Instagram. I could look it up.
Oh damn.
Is Instagram hosted on AWS? Oh, no longer.
No longer.
They used to.
It stopped in 2024.
So basically, it's like
said.
one of the first cloud situations, and they get paid millions, well, actually, billions of dollars for these contracts from companies to be able to run. Without AWS, you can't have a Twitch. Without AWS, you can't have a Kick. So cool. They pop out and they get a lot of market share, and now Oracle is looking like the old niggas who got no tech, right? Because their cloud thing is not that, you know, it's not that inviting. It's just not popping like that, right? And they basically become the easy solution for everybody in the, you know, big company space. So everybody's usually using AWS, right? And that's why they're kind of cleaning up, because they had like,
gotta make one more move, y'all. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Oracle, which was more robust, it was more